Hello and welcome to my presentation on counseling veterans in the realm of helping them find employment after being deployed. There were many criteria I could have looked at to choose a group of people to counsel or to do for this project. And primarily, I chose this group and these individuals because of the influence and the great influence they've had in my life. My father was a World War II veteran. My uncle's a World War II veteran. My brother and cousin were both Vietnam veterans. Many of my other cousins have served in the military, and many of my friends have served in the military as well. I'm very proud of the contributions they've made to this country, and they're very overlooked. And when we looked for this assignment at all the different groups of people, military people come from broad categories and vast ranges of different backgrounds. You have people that are Asian American in the military. You have people that are German American. You have African American. You have Asian American. You have Hispanic American. You have every walk and every special category. Some of the special categories for this class was transgender, gay, and bisexual. You even have that in the military. So pretty much any kind of counseling that you're going to do for any group of people, at some point you will encounter people in the military. And I feel like that they get the least amount of attention and they're so very often overlooked. Some of the impediments to them receiving the appropriate psychological and mental health counseling to help them uh, get reacclimated into the workforce is primarily adjustment disorder. We learned in the DSM 5 about adjustment disorder. They have a different type of adjustment disorder where they come from a state of hypervigilance, a state of readiness all the time, where that there is a good chance that at any moment, any second, that they could be blowed up, shot, or killed. And they live in this and they struggle with this. They have a hard time with it because for 2 years, sometimes they're deployed. And during that whole time, they have to be on high alert all the time. So it's hard to readjust, it's hard to reacclimate. It's hard to train your body not to be on high alert when you come home. And that hypervigilance is one reason. And some of the things that they experience and see and they're involved in, there is a high rate of post traumatic stress disorder in this community. And a lot of the things that have been noted through the research that I've done that's caused them issues and caused them problems and caused them a lot of uncertainties has been the symptoms that they have. Many of these veterans sometimes are only able to work a part time schedule. Many of them, because of their symptoms, they're so acute and so traumatic and they've not received the appropriate treatment. They're struggling and they're not able to hold down a job at all. That's another issue, finding those mental health services that works for them. Many of them aren't in those services, even though there's many more available today than there have ever been. It's still a struggle for this group to be able to get those services. And dealing with hypervigilance and depression and anxiety and trying to hold down a job, it's hard. The adjustment is even that much harder when you stop and think about they have to adjust to normal life again. And it's not just normal life at work, it's normal life at home, it's normal life in the community. And holistically, all of these affect their ability to maintain employment. And one of the primary other issues and impediments they have to gaining employment is when you were a young man or woman and you went in the military after high school, a lot of non enlisted people do not have 4 year degrees. They would be commissioned officers if they had 4 year degrees. They plan on going to school after they get out. Well, they don't have any kind of formal post-secondary education. So they struggle with being able to do the things that they want to do. And many of them were trained to do jobs like law enforcement and other kind of security, public safety type sector jobs like military police, like airplane pilots, flight medics, things like that. Due to the post traumatic stress disorder, they can no longer function in those capacities and they end up leaving the military with no ability to take care of themselves, with no skills. And many of them become homeless, and many of them are unable to take care of themselves. And there's many things that they run into, many roadblocks, many obstacles when they go through the veterans services. I think it's very important. Cognitive behavioral therapy is proven and it's well known to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder. That is my go-to. I use Thinking for a Change and 7 Challenges with people that I worked with when I was a probation officer. It's always been effective. It's proven. It's peer-reviewed. It's evidence-based. It works. So I chose to work with this population, and my main bread and butter therapy would be cognitive behavioral vocational therapy, to be able to help them get into their own head and come up with their own ideals. They have the ideals of what they want to do. They just need to have someone facilitate them going in the direction that they know they need to go in. And that's what we're here to do. Uh, I would also like to add that we need to not be afraid to make referrals. They need to be made aware that they need to be referred to every program that they have in the Veterans Administration services that could help them, facilitate them being more productive in life. If we do not specialize as a therapist, as a mental health professional, as a marriage counselor, as an individual counselor, we need to make those referrals. We need to make a referral to a psychiatrist, psychologist, to get them diagnosed, to get them on the right meds. We need to send them to the primary care physician at the Veteran Services Office to be able to ensure that they're able to uh, determine if there's any medical conditions that are causing any issues. These are very important things when working with these individuals and seeing that they're able to be proficient. There's also an action-based cognitive behavioral therapy. It's not had the peer-reviewed review saying it's good or bad, but it's also something that would be good to work and to present to veterans as a possible option to be able to get them stimulated and headed in the right direction. There were all kind of other groups I could have chosen, but because of my love for veterans, because of all the veterans in my family, I wanted to choose to honor them, and I wanted to use them as the group that I was going to select for this presentation. Sadly enough, I am not savvy technologically, so I did not put my PowerPoint on this video. If you will, you may look at the bottom of the screen, and I will attach along with this video my PowerPoint and give you an opportunity to look at the references I reviewed for this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me by email. Uh, if you have any other questions, feel free to just give me an email and let me know what it is, and I'll be glad to try to help you. Hope you have a wonderful day.